This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
All right, the time is 6:04. Call the regular meeting of the Southampton Select Board to order, April 23rd. 3 out of 5 members are present. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Anybody here for citizens speak?
Tammy Walunas, College Highway. On behalf of the Historical Society, I'd like to let people know that we have our April program meeting happening this Thursday, April 25th, 7 o'clock at the Southampton Congregational Church. And it's about the World War II Victory Gardens and Kitchens. There's some posters out around. Hopefully it's open to all. It's a free event. So we've got 2 people coming in to speak, and there's somebody else coming in to talk about the Greenway. The other thing is that I am very happy to inform the town that Clark Chapman House has started doing school tours again. On Friday, May 3rd, we have 3 third grade classrooms coming in. So they'll be broken into 6 groups going around, and we will even have the one-room schoolhouse open for them. So if you have a third grader, please ask them on Friday how their day went. And again, Celebrate Southampton is August 9th and 10th, so be on the way for that.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, Bruce Bowman, Pomeroy Meadow Road. Just an observation, and I'm new to town, but seeing how the town communicates with the residents, there seems, and I prefer not to use social media, the town has a paucity of formal communication with the residents. The website is not active at all, and there seems to be more formal town communication of activities through social media than formal communication through the town. The town website, everybody has access to it. I have privacy concerns about social media. I prefer not to use social media. I know there's been a lot of transitions, and there may have been historically workarounds that people need to engage in, but it strikes me that formal communications of activities from Chief of Police, Highway Department, other locations should reside within the town website, and other parties go to that. And I did have another point, but it's eluding me. But just an observation as a new resident to town who looks to the town website for information. Oh, the calendar has a function where all past events disappear. So if you want to see what had happened and what day it happened, there's no immediate way to do that. I think that's probably an easy on-off switch on the calendar function to leave all past calendar events up and running and available for perusal. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think that's one of the intents of the new website, is to get there on that. And then as far as historical pieces.
Underline that. It's a new website that we invested a lot in.
Right. But the historic, wiping out the meeting as soon as it's done, I think you're right, but maybe only going back like maybe 6 months or 1 year in arrears. Because one of the things we ran into on the old website is we ran out of space. I'm trying to keep up, but there can be a happy medium there.
I find that the website became like the 37-volume encyclopedia. And if you wander down to the committee whose jurisdiction or issue you're interested in, I think you may find more history than in the calendar, because in the interest of currency and shared calendars, that's a separate application. The feedback is very welcome, and if you have any talent in this area, that's even more welcome.
I don't have the specific talent in this area. It's to find events squirreled away within boards and commissions that are not easily accessible on a single page is counterintuitive to me as I try to stay current on the internet. Again, method of communication, even though it may be redundant, may be storage issues, it strikes me that it would make sense to have a single location where, and I don't know whether it's a manpower issue to upload and maintain the town website, but you have to know of an event happening and know that there's information to be found on that subcommittee to go there to look for it. And that's not an efficient way to communicate with new residents coming into town and to set a format of standard communication across town. And I apologize for engaging in back and forth.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Yes. We agree.
Anybody else for public comment? Okay. All right. Next, reports, town administrator.
Sure. Sorry.
The camera's on, but the TV's not.
Sorry, just having one technical difficulty here.
We can poke the TV and see if we can get a little better.
Yeah, I tried that, Dan. I'm assuming it's just we can't see it since the camera's responding. Do you want us to take up select board reports? Oh, you find your,
Oh, no, it's
you
okay.
good?
So with the VoIP update, I was able to do a recording just to send it off to our provider to see if it works. So I do have to fill out the Excel sheet that kind of directs everything, but I think it'll be working soon. So we did do that.
Thank you.
For the cannabis.
Other duties as assigned.
So I don't know how good it sounds or anything like that, but
It sounds beautiful.
And we need some voice actor in the resume, but I'm sure you're fine.
we should use the AI though. That might be an idea for the future. For the cannabis fee, I do want to, for next session, just call a executive session with the select board, just because a lot of stuff has happened in the last 2 years with the new legislation, a lot of court cases. So I think it would be a good time for the select board to review everything and figure out a strategy moving forward. For grants, like the Green Community Grant, a few other grants that we were getting extensions, so we're in the middle of doing that. Our FY 2022 audit should be this week. Hopefully by tomorrow, we should be receiving it. We started having regular, our first finance team meetings, which we hope to have bi-weekly. And this last week's was the implementation of the new VADAR system. So Jen, Bradley, myself, we're looking to do some professional development for all the administrative assistants on how to use it, reaching out to department heads, having a department head meeting just for that to see what their concerns are. And then we're looking to do a field trip to a municipality or two just to see how they've implemented it and how they're actually using it in the real world. So the first department head meeting is going to be this Thursday, and we're going to have them, I believe, bi-weekly, and 10 o'clock. And I realized, working with Chris on her email, but so the select board doesn't have full access to Microsoft 365, so I'm going to talk to Novus about getting an upgrade, everyone. So you actually you're not able to use the SharePoint and the Teams application, which I thought you had the full version, but you don't. So I'm going to talk to Novus about getting that updated for everybody. So it's a little bit of a price difference, but it's a yearly fee. So. And then I did send out one recent thing today about a cybersecurity issue that we're currently working on. So,
Okay, questions?
Oh, straightforward.
I'm good.
We have a quorum, can we call the finance committee to order at 6:15?
Thanks. Select board reports, Dan?
I think firstly is the technology committee met last night, and I would like to get onto the agenda for the select board from the technology committee meeting is talking about fiber. So we have the quotes in from the 3 vendors for fiber. So the technology committee will give a technical review of those and pass that along to this board, at which point it will be the responsibility of this board to move that forward and determine which path we want to go down and what other investigations we may need to make a fully informed decision as a town. But I guess I'm asking to get that on the agenda for discussion.
Okay.
Anything else for that committee? We said that we would review on the town warrant is something about improving the Wi-Fi in the town hall, and we're going to review that one more time, make sure the technology makes the most sense. From what we could see in the quote, it wasn't obvious. We want to talk with the vendor to make sure that we're getting exactly what we need in that solution. Conservation Commission is moving along as planned. Nothing really to discuss. They've had a couple conservation area cleanups, which is good, but nothing the select board needs to be aware of. So.
Planning board? Because I missed the meeting.
I don't think there's anything particular to bring up to the planning board except for looking at the bylaws for the scenic byways, scenic roadways, and also the historic districts in town. Those are 2 topics that have come up lately that we want to, as a planning board, look at the bylaws around those to ensure that we are serving the town in the best way possible. So those will be addressed and updated.
Great. Stephen, any comments?
Apologies for missing the planning board, but that was a tough day for me. Board of Assessors met today, and they were pleased to hear, Scott, that we have the goal of facilitating communications and record keeping across the land use committees. They had some questions about the capabilities of VADAR for tracking things like Chapter 61 enrollment. And I suggested to them that might be a different application, but it begs the question, sitting down and exploring how those puzzle pieces fit together or don't. But I want to renew my commitment to you, since I haven't done anything since one email. All right, Board of Assessors, the rest was technical stuff. Open Space Committee meets Thursday. They are up to their necks implementing with Kestrel Land Trust the Mountain Waters project. I thought that it was this issue from Kestrel that featured Mountain Waters, but if you go to their website, you can read a lot about this really important conservation project that's going on primarily in Southampton, but with many partners. Open Space Committee continues to track sales and changes in people's circumstances. So it's as ambitious as this 1,000-acre project is with Kestrel. there are other issues that are pressing on the plate. And that's the only.
Board of Health.
I haven't met with them.
You guys have all been here for all the finance committees, so I can skip over those updates. PPP is meeting Thursday night, and there is a collective all districts, all school committees meeting tomorrow night, or Thursday night, in hopes to appoint a interim superintendent of schools for the next school year. More to come on that.
But
So will you be at the PP? No,
No. And I forget who the vice chair is.
not me.
Chris isn't here, so we'll skip over ad hoc committee. Next, we have appointments and resignations. Do we want to take them all up together?
Yes.
Unless there's an objection?
you want a motion? Under appointments and resignation, I move that we approve the following 3 issues. First person, Sally Bastion's resignation as Assistant Treasurer effective April 18th, 2024. The second person is Lexi Richard, 2 items, resignation as Treasurer or Collector Office Clerk effective April 25th, 2024. And Lexi is also resigning from the Conservation Commission effective immediately. There's your motion.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, so moved. New business, fiscal year 2025 budget discussion. I have one question, well, I'll start with one question. If I look at the document titled Revenue Estimates Fiscal Year 25 Draft 04/01/2024, which I think is the last version that I have, it shows on line 34 a negative receipt for $266,204, and it's titled Less State Assessments. So I believe that that is where the state back charges us on our cherry sheets at line 34. And I think historically, this is how we put it in there, right? I don't know if you want to make that a little bigger for those at home. But then if I take that same, if I go and look and see what makes up that number, and I pull up the preliminary municipal cherry sheets for Southampton, the cumulative as of the governor's budget was a negative 266,204, right? So it corresponds to that number. It's now negative 300,331, but that's a separate point. But of that 266, one of those line items, which is $204,000, $204,553 is charter schools sending tuition. And if I go look at our expenses, we're also accounting for it there. So I believe we are taking a double hit. Because if you go onto our expense budget workbook that we're working on, and you go down to line 120, is that not the same line item? And the reason it jumps out right there, it jumps out at me because historically we haven't included those 2 lines, school choice tuition and charter school tuition, because they're intercepted from the cherry sheet money. So I think if we're going to have it there as a negative, we have to show it as a positive on the other side. We're showing it as 2 negatives.
Yeah, in fiscal year '24, we didn't have a budget for school choice, nor did we have one for charter school tuition. So that's why it looks weird on the...
Right, but if charter school tuition is 204, and that is collected from our cherry sheet under our state assessments,
Yeah.
then we shouldn't be deducting it off our revenue.
Or we shouldn't have it on the expense report.
Correct, one or the other needs to go.
Suppose we could match what we did last year and we didn't have it there.
Right, so if we don't have the 204 and we don't have the 249, and all of a sudden we just added $263,000 to the bottom line, that makes tonight's conversation a lot easier, doesn't it?
I like your math.
If you don't have it budgeted as an expense, then what do you charge it to when you?
We never see it, right?
No, but when you enter receipts, so it nets up the Chapter 70 money, but you have to enter the full Chapter 70 money and then break out all the individual, like as a journal entry, all the individual expenses, those cherry sheet charges.
Right.
You know, so if you don't have it budgeted, I think you need to have it budgeted.
So we should include a positive revenue number, which still cancels it out.
Right, right.
Yeah.
It needs to be the Chapter 70.
I might have had an old file.
As well as
Those were your notes.
No, keep on going. Thanks, everybody, for your indulgence, and thanks, John, for starting.
Okay. So, I mean, I do like the idea of leaving it on there as an expense. I just think on the revenue side, we don't need to take that, the deduction, because we're showing it in our expenses.
You need to gross revenue on this gross side.
Let me just, I'm going to put up the most recent revenues.
What line was revenue booked?
34. That's expenses.
Lost control.
It's the April, it's the last one Bradley sent was around April 1st, April 2nd. The only adjustment to there is the vote we took on ambulance receipts.
Chair. Did we mention that we're accepting donations of chairs?
Sorry, you don't like your chair?
Well, it's,
Yes, they're not the most
it
comfortable.
has sudden movements.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, because it looks like 2024, we used an estimated negative 315, which again, if you go back and look at historical, it's there. In 23, we used the negative on the revenue sides. So historically, it's always been a negative on the less state assessment piece.
I guess I just don't know how you account for it in your, if you don't have it budgeted. Do you know what I mean?
I do, from the accounting point of view. But,
Okay, guys.
so Chris,
where are
to
we?
get you up to speed
Sorry,
is...
thank you. Sorry, I had a little family emergency.
I think that, I think we're double counting a negative. We have a negative in here twice, and the cumulative value is about $266,000.
For revenue, or?
Well, we're showing it, so it's less the state aid, which is line 34 on the revenue sheet. We have right now a negative 266, which matches the governor's proposed budget of assessments to us. So that's the school tuition, that's the mosquito,
Yeah.
or the air pollution program, and the Franklin Regional Transportation Assessment that we get, right? That they charge us, we never actually see the money. They take it at the state level. But then when I look on expenses, and I go to the school section, we're including charter school tuition and school choice tuition, which the state pays that on our behalf, and then, yeah, right, they deduct our Chapter 70 money to offset that, but from what I can see, it's in here twice. And I think if I'm right, that makes our bottom line $253,000 better, which means we don't need to touch stabilization operation money, and we have a surplus
That would be nice.
for those chairs.
Among other things, yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
But I've given Bradley and Scott time to confirm
Okay.
it.
Yeah, on the revenue side, we're accounting for it there, saying that's a negative amount from our revenues. So I'm saying, yeah, I agree with John.
Okay.
And so then finance mentioned that, or commented, rightfully so, that if you don't have a budget line item, how can you charge expenses to it? So the question is, should we show it in expenses and not in revenue? And if we don't show it in revenue, then we'd have to gross it up in the revenue number, or vice versa. So do we do what we historically have done, where we show it as the negative here to match that sheet, and then we just zero it out on the expense line, or I guess that's...
I can use the revenue negative amount as the budget for the expense side. So every month I do go to the state website and I find the state assessment and I input journal entries to expend that out. And there's no physical checks or anything going out as a wire transfer type of entry.
So you're comfortable with it hitting the revenue line item?
Okay.
So again, I'm looking, so I would say school choice sending tuition and charter school sending tuition that we have on the expense line items, those two line items can be zeroed out.
Wow, really?
This got easy.
That's a little scary.
And then, right? So now what's that do to the bottom line? Because, and, just for the record, so the other assessments that are in there is regional transit, which I don't see anywhere on our expenses, RMV non-renewal surcharges, which would come back to us later on in receipts to the tax collector, so that's not there. And then the air pollution district surcharge of $1,900 that we pay for our bad air for Boston. So, right, that makes us what? Our revenue estimate's $21,260,000, and so we've got an extra $2,000?
You got 48, right?
Well, if the sum of all the accounts of your expenses is $21,641, and you have that's not an updated revenue estimate, okay. The 21,049 is the one that ties out to the sheet? Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that one there that you have up there, Bradley, that does show the vote we took on ambulance receipts, right?
Yes, it has 250,000 for
Yep.
the ambulance receipts, and it has the updated state assessments.
Right. So we're under budget by $48,000. That's a surplus, right?
Yeah, okay. Got a surplus of 48,000.
Yeah. Secret, you should be late a few more times,
That's good for me, hey, that's fine, yeah.
Well, see, so my issue was that when I was looking at this earlier today, before I came in at 4 o'clock, I couldn't fathom how we got rid of $138,000 worth of debt, but yet it got absorbed all the way in the budget, and really, we didn't add anything. If anything, there's a cut from the police department.
Yeah.
So this now makes more sense to me.
Can I restore some of those cuts?
We can certainly talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, my first question is $15,000 for wage adjustments. Are you
Yeah.
comfortable with that number starting at the top?
Is that going to be sufficient? That would be one question.
Or knowing that we're 40, and I'm happy for anybody to weigh in, if we're 48,000 to the good, do we make that 20? I don't know, but.
Yeah.
I mean, we initially came up with 25,000, and we reduced that by 10,000.
Yeah.
Scott, what was the approach to calculating that? Was it a certain percentage based on existing salaries?
Yeah, it was, I did the calculation of like how much each percentage cost. I'd have to look at that up though, and it was just kind of rounded. It wasn't one of those things that we were going to plan it all in 1 year.
That's true.
I mean, we could go back to the 25 if you wanted to. Just to have it.
So my understanding, so just a question on that, wage adjustments, right? So that's a very broad term. And in my mind, it's specifically put in there because we wanted it for the Collins Institute, and we put it under the select board area, so only the select board could portion that money out.
Right.
But I also did notice that we're in active negotiations with the highway department, both the union and the non-union personnel over there, and we didn't budget for any increase. Now, I know by default, the department's only 50% staffed, but if our goal is to make that contract attractive to neighboring communities, we might need some money, and I'm perfectly happy and content to put it in that line and say, yeah, make that 25,000 if we know that that's a potential available spot.
I did put in initially I did have a placeholder of a 3% increase for those two line items.
Okay.
So I can put that back in.
Well, let's at least put that back in. That may or may not be what we end up with, but at least something more than just flat line for sure.
I think our highway wages flat. I think they're up 13,000 over the special town meeting budget. We rebutted.
Yeah.
Yeah, we readjusted something, didn't we, with,
Yeah, so it's not flat compared to regular FY '24.
And, well, general highway wages would be, no, it's got to be increased there. Well, 230 to 240, yeah, right.
It's further down, yeah.
Some of that moving of the unfilled positions to the other line items.
Yeah.
They're right there, yeah.
No, that's not the, I'll just do the calculation really quick.
Yeah.
So another, again, we can certainly go through the exercise and look at everybody and see what we want to put in, what we don't want to put in, but is there an impact one way or the other if we don't utilize the full levy amount? For example, say we left 10,000. Does next year, is that 10,000 available on top of the 2.5, or is it gone forever?
No, I think it's available. It's excess capacity, I believe.
Or would we increase one of the transfers to stabilization or what have you?
No, you'd have to use free cash for that. I don't think you can budget a stabilization out of the general fund. You put it in your budget?
I thought you could.
It'd be a first.
Kind of sounds like good practice to
We could add it to our reserve fund.
reserve funding, which you're chuckling, so
Well, I don't
it
know.
doesn't.
You're talking about finance, the FinCom reserve fund? Right, well, I do like that idea too, because you fund it once, and then when it's not used, it replenishes itself by going back to free cash. But, I believe that number should be whatever our minimum deductible for an insurance cost is, because that's the account we're going to go to. And my guess is it's $50,000. $5,000 isn't going to do much when the roof caves in.
No. You know, and we were fairly lucky we haven't spent it this year at all, but
Well, no, so consider most of our municipal buildings are over 100 years old.
quite true. Yeah.
So,
So, okay, does that,
So including just a rough estimate of 3%, obviously it's just a placeholder for the negotiations, but
and on the general highway wages as well?
yep.
Okay. All right. So had you had a chance, I mean, that's at least a start. I don't know if that's going to be sufficient, but at least we need to be budgeting certainly for that, and with the hopes of recruiting people to fill those positions. I mean, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, that's, if I understand that, that's not extra wages on top of open positions. That's what you expect for the current employees?
No, for
At
all,
3%?
for all authorized positions,
All-
whether filled or
yeah.
not.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it was fully staffed, for example, right now, that proposition would be about 251.
Right.
Which we know we're not staffed right now, but
Right.
maybe we can be. While we're in that category, had you had a chance to talk to the tree warden at all? Is that a
not yet, no.
realistic thing to cut that? I don't know. It had always been at 8,000, then we bumped it up to whatever it was, 15? Yeah, because we've always had to come back and do it. We happen to have a late winter, and we didn't need it so much this year, but I don't know if we should necessarily chop it back. It's one of those that we've shifted at special town meeting in the past, but just a thought. I don't know what he's spent this year so far, probably not a lot. 10,000?
4,000.
Or,
29%, so only 4,300.
oh, wow, only 4,000, oh my, yeah. Okay, well, okay, I'm not going to argue too hard on that one then. Okay.
So
Yeah,
can we make the wage placement line, can we bump it to 20,000, meet in the middle?
Well, I was completely sold on 25.
But there's some other things in there, so
Maybe some
let's,
other things we have to
can we
look at.
scroll down to the next
So-
cut that was in
so
there?
right there with the yellow one, why are those consultants for the assessors cut back? What was the yellow highlight for?
I think it was because it had 4,500 in that budget line, which was the same as the one above it, and I checked it, and it was actually 13,570, so I updated it, and I highlighted just to show it was a new update.
So 13,570 was their original ask?
Yes,
Yeah.
So that's in their budget narrative for this year?
yes, I'll check again.
So less than last year's, though. Interesting. Okay. Radio.
So is there a way to keep the extra money, as little as it may be, set aside such that, there's always things that come off through there's always expenses that come off through the year. Can we set the money aside to account for those things that do come along?
That's what the reserve fund is.
Let's do that.
So if you do it, but here's the catch.
Yep.
And it's not really a catch, because we have an active finance committee now. The first 10 months of the year, only under joint vote, select board and finance, can you use that money. If one votes and the other doesn't, you can't do it. May and June, the select board can do it, right? Without finance, the last 2 months? Transfer or something? There's a catch. Let's just assume we both have to agree to it,
Yeah, that's just,
which is still a good practice.
Why not?
yeah,
But, all right, so
yeah.
treasurer, collector, or assessor clerical
So
inspection.
that one is okay, that's cyclical. I checked with Darcy on that. They did not have much of a justification for that. They originally had gone up much higher. It was like 75 or something. It's like, how are you getting there from the 22?
I'm
And
sorry, which line?
Assessors,
the
clinical
cyclical
inspections.
inspections where we took back 2,100. So it's at 36 now, so it was at 22 last year. So she said we could meet in the middle and take part of that back. She didn't have a good, solid justification to understand it. It might have been a typo in the original request, I'm not sure. Or it may be money that's needed for some reason in FY '26 rather than '25, could be, in terms of whatever they're doing for inspections.
And then the next cut was $100.
Yeah. that's
And we
fine.
cut 15,000 out of what? Conservation wages?
Because we still have money in ARPA.
Okay.
We haven't used, I think, Bradley, you've checked those figures a couple times over. Our first conservation agent didn't work as frequently and didn't draw down as much as we expected.
So we're still going to be able to maintain the same level of service that we have this year, next year, based on that number, utilizing also ARPA funds? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the challenge is going to be in '26, is how do we make that a real position that doesn't depend on ARPA, but that's another story. Yep.
So, well, all right, look, where are we showing the ARPA receipt?
I don't know.
Bradley, are you encumbering those for previous years? For authorized expenses, or no?
The ARPA expenses revolving fund, so when the year closes, the balance will carry over into the next year.
Okay,
For the ARPA
Tracking
money.
the projects in the file.
okay.
Right. Yeah, it's per project, so it's invoiced
So it
directly.
stays for the life, it doesn't end on June 30th, like the
No.
general fund does?
No. No. Yeah, it's being directly invoiced from the ARPA money, so,
Is that the same with planning board? Is that their revolving account?
yeah, that's their revolving.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Shall we,
And custodial wages at town hall, besides the increase, that's got to be an increase in hours.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, mostly hours, yep.
okay. All right.
And technology services, should we add $1,000 to cover non-covered laptops right now,
Yeah.
right?
Current experience?
Yeah, I did ask for an updated quote on that, so they're getting it together for me, but it's, I mean, I don't expect it to be a huge number because it's, only 6 or 7 realistically people, 2 or 3 workstations in the fire, maybe a couple in police and a couple in library, so it's not like a huge amount.
Well, and then the laptops Concom too, right? Wouldn't they be?
Well, they're covered under the contract.
They are, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, because they're in town hall, okay, got it. Yeah, I mean, if you think that's the current amount that's needed, without adding on the laptops to do some more technology, but,
And we can certainly use it. There's no question about that.
Well, because last year, your expiring is 29, and you're just resetting to 31. And that 31 is going to cover 100% of the current Novus contract plus whatever else is charged to that line item?
So I believe the adjusted, because at the time, we were paying hourly for each call for Novus, so it's cheaper to do the service contract.
Which is 21, and going to 31 leaves you an extra 10,000 throughout the year.
No, the service contract is about 31 total.
Oh.
Okay.
So, let me see if I can unhide these.
I mean, is it worth putting in another, whatever, 3,000 or 4,000 or something toward out-of-contract service costs, or
Unhide.
given what we've just,
Yeah, where's the 20?
No, if we assign those extra funds to one of these columns now, to get it back, to say we wanted to reallocate it where we have a need in the future, do we have to take it out of that line? Is it more of an effort to pull it back out and then put it back in?
You have to go to special town meeting.
special town meeting?
So wouldn't it make sense just to put it into like whatever the term is for our reserve money,
fund.
such that let's say we get along in a couple months and we realize we have more IT expenses than we wanted to, then we could allocate those funds at that point without having to go to a
Yeah, I mean,
town
that's
meeting.
one way to look at it, if the 31,000 covers the current Novus contract. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah,
So
I
maybe-
agree with Dan.
So maybe take a few thousand and see what you can put in the reserve fund. I don't know where we are with the bottom line there at the moment.
So,
Yeah, but I think what Dan was saying, leave it as is.
Yeah.
And then put whatever surplus there is in the reserve fund. And so once we continue scrolling down, if we agree that there's no more restoration cuts that we want to put in,
that's it.
right?
Can we restore the police department?
You know, that's the one budget that I have the most confidence in. So if he says he needs $84,621.17, I say we give it to him.
You had to write down to the air filter, I believe.
You know?
Yeah, I have no objection to restoring that. That's fine. Personally.
That one matches the contract. Right? Building inspector, okay.
Spoke about all of that.
And we've
And
finalized.
that first adjustment, 4,900, is just to have same level of service year over year with the 3% increase that everybody else has.
Right, the request is for 59, which would have included in additional hours, so reducing that, the general fund will just pay for the
increase.
54,191.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we still continued with the revolving fund, so it leaves 10,000 seed money for that.
Right, which in essence is a quarter. It's 3 months of what historically has been charged.
Okay. And then what did we end up, this then fully funds the COA director at the next step? Is that what that is, or?
Right, so there was I did meet with Jen, and there was some misunderstanding on the Council on Aging submitting their final budget and what it should have reflected, so the 52,299 is accurate.
Is accurate to put 100% of the COA director's salary into the general fund.
Yeah, okay.
The initial request was for 54 or something, so there was a little bit of miscalculation on the amount of pay periods, so we fixed that.
And just, again, just so we're being fair to everybody else on here, that's the same number of hours in the previous budget.
That's correct.
Yeah, okay.
It's 32 hours, I believe?
Yep. Increase the expenses and the veterans agent salary.
So my question on the veteran agent is, that's more than just the rate, so how many hours are we getting now, and what is this pushing us to?
I think I calculated an additional 3 hours a week. I did talk to Michelle, and So if she needs them, they'll be available to her. A lot of times, there's a specific situation that might come up with veterans, like there might be an event or a veteran in crisis, so she would not be limited to just that 6 hours a week. So she could use up to that amount.
Yeah. No, I'm not opposed to it. I just think somebody,
Yeah.
you know, 2 years ago when we added hours, right, that was one of the big talking points. So
Yeah.
we just need to be able to articulate
So
why
right
that
now-
particular line item's going up in hours.
Right now, she's working how many hours, though? Is it 4?
6.
6 hours a week, okay. So this would take her up to 9.
Yeah, right about, yeah. And that's not, I mean, considering a veteran coffee hour takes,
Right, yeah.
you know, an hour or two, so.
Sure.
To actually do, you know, reach out and do services for the veterans, it does require a few more hours.
Okay. So she might, from what you're saying, she might not work the 9 hours every week, but she's got it to do if she needs it, kind of
Yeah.
thing, yeah, okay. And I think that's kind of how we worked on what we were talking about with Judy, right, as well, your assistant, to get from 16 up to 19 on occasion, so it's all still got to go through PQB, but I think from what you said, it's been budgeted that way?
Yep.
Yeah. So,
So those are the two positions that have
Yeah.
extra hours.
right,
Yeah,
From
Judy's
year over year.
position was actually updated last year, so we were using the additional hours this year currently.
okay, yeah. So again, not a full 19 every pay period, but up to 19 as needed, depending on the workload in the office.
Yep.
Okay. All right, and did we, I don't know, did we double check with, on our library, we had a question last week, are we sure that we've satisfied all the MAR, whatever, state formula craziness that we need to do with the library? Do we think we're okay?
I thought we may be short on the books and materials.
Yeah.
I thought it was supposed to be a minimum funding level of 19% of the overall library budget. I think it's at like 17%. I'm just double checking the rules on that.
I think the number that Johanna had in her description is closer to like 37.4, something like that.
For the books and materials?
Yeah.
So it has to be 19% of the sum of the library?
Yes.
Do you have that narrative by any chance, the budget?
That was the discussion when she gave the presentation.
Yeah,
She was going to fundraise to cover the shortfall, which we weren't comfortable with at the time. It puts the state grant money at risk. And I think the library
Yeah, interchange.
program.
yeah, it's like 37, something, like that, 691. Can't quite see it from here, sorry.
Sorry.
There we go.
I figured
All
it's
right.
not, yeah.
Yeah, may look bigger to you, but it doesn't down here. Oh, so 32, yeah?
That,
No?
if you look at her description,
In the budget narrative? So in the narrative itself, though, because the total for her category is 202. 202. It's minus the park and historical, so.
Bradley's going to pull it up.
I'll send it to you.
Might have it here handy.
This was back in the I believe an increase around $3,700 would increase it to 19%. But the most materials at $39,400, give or take.
Let's get 35.
Yeah, so right there, somewhere in there.
37,222, is that this one?
Yeah. We need to spend 37,222.
Just the law here.
But, so if I look on the current budget book that we have, and I go to the library and I look under wish list 2, she's updated, someone's updated that number to 37,693.53.
I'll look to see if she has another one. I just checked the state website. It is 19%.
Yeah, 19% is what it should be.
Based on our population.
Yeah. So I'd say we need to at least put in the 37 that she's asked for. But we might still be short a percentage.
No, actually, we have park commission wages in that total.
Yeah, right.
The envelope was off slightly.
Agree. Yes.
So make it 37,500, round number.
Yeah, let's make it a round number. and Worry about all the pennies in the end.
There you go.
Okay,
What is that for the total library only at?
just the library only. Just scroll down and just highlight that. What is the,
Well, it's not that
below
number.
that?
So you got to select library director
out the
down
park
to
and
the
historical,
library
so-
maintenance.
3250 take out of there.
I think it's for line 175.
19.
For Rose.
38.
200, 713.
Does that look like the formula is supposed to be?
So, are we close enough, or do we need?
Yeah, that's short. I think
38?
It needs to be 38, like 400.
So again, the books and materials have to be 19% of the total library budget, is that right?
27,647? 2,600. 27,647.
And just,
Yep, that works.
so then if you just highlight the
Iterative.
50 down to the 6, and what is that total? What's that subtotal?
Committee work.
Just the-
No.
well, okay. It's easier just to do it that way. Just subtotal that library one. Yeah. Right.
201, 613, 10.
201, what?
201,
$201,613.10.
Delete this.
201,613?
yep.
Thanks.
Restore in a second.
Yeah, we're okay? Okay,
19.04.
ready. Getting down to the bottom. Now, we're okay with all of our debts and our interest? That was our
Hope so.
issue from
Yeah,
before?
we pulled in the bridge.
Yeah, the bridge kind of went south a little bit there. Yes, that made a big difference.
All right, so surplus 25,658. So make the finance reserve 30,000 and leave 658.28 in there. And we're done.
Great.
We can ratify the budget tonight.
We're okay with the school and everything? Hang on. We're okay with the school, nothing else happening here with the school, right? We got those figures.
Based on the latest information we have, which is 30 days old, yes.
Yeah,
Line 19.
so,
Pretty good talent on this team.
okay, let us see where we are. Magic.
Love it.
And we're not using stabilization.
Maybe we can buy a chair for Scott. How's that?
One chair.
For the town administrator's office, before he charges us for all his chiropractic visits. Okay. We think we're okay?
Are you guys good with it?
What is this what's this difference right up there, right above you there, above the box? It says 31,544. What is
Before
that?
we started.
Or any adjustments to
Okay.
the budget.
I don't need extra information.
That's where we started. That was our point A.
Okay, good. That's fine.
Starting to feel better about this budget.
All right, so shall we take a vote that we think we have this as our budget? Do we need to vote it?
I'm comfortable with
You
it.
just laughed at me.
I make a motion to approve the fiscal year, as he takes the numbers away from me, the fiscal year 25 budget.
Save it.
With
Yeah, be sure you save that. I think it was
revenues of $21,048,703.72. Oh, sorry.
No.
Yeah, you're right. The motion is to approve the fiscal year 25 budget with a final expense of $21,048,703.72 with offset revenues of $21,049,362 even.
second. All right, motion by John, second by Dan. Any further discussion? Anybody finance-wise? No? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's a way to celebrate it.
All right. Well, all right. That's good. Okay. All righty. So that takes care of that part. Let's see. Next up, I want to take a quick run through the draft warrant for any couple issues there maybe, and then,
There's been a few changes, just to update everyone. So Article 1, 2, and 3, those are placeholders. We're expecting to amend that on the floor once we get that in. The operating budget.
Sorry, can you back up one more? Where's that Hampshire Regional Capital? That one right there to establish it.
Oh, Article 5, yep.
right. So that doesn't have any funding in it, it's just setting up the parameters of the fund at this point.
All right, well, I just want to make sure that last sentence stays in there.
Yeah.
So that's fine, because it says it can't exceed 5%. The language that they sent us said they can't charge us more than 5%, but they can continue to build upon it afterwards. This is saying it's capped at 5%, at least from our town's point of view. We can always negotiate later. But I think that safeguard needs to be there.
That line's just from Mass General Law.
Are we any closer to free cash?
So what?
Are we any closer to having free cash certified?
Well, we've been talking to the school. I think they're working on it. I don't know that we've gotten anything yet, have we, today?
I've gotten, not today, but I've gotten emails from the principal and the superintendent.
So everybody's
And
working
the
on it, but
and the
no.
business administrator, in an email, said we'd have it by end of business tomorrow.
Yeah,
I asked for Wednesday as the deadline, so.
yeah.
See what happens.
So we've had communications with the superintendent and everybody and his brother, but haven't seen the final figures, and it's still going to take, because a lot of this is still grant money that has to be reconciled, and so it's still going to take Bradley a day or so to figure out whatever they're sending him to make sure it reconciles, right, Bradley? A day or two, hopefully, to turn around and get that in, but yes, we're bumping up against deadlines. But I think we've made it pretty clear that, our extension was granted for our closeout was until April 30th, and we've both made it clear that we're not going beyond that. We're not going to go back and beg for more extensions, so they need to get their act together.
So on Article 6, that 109 was the total amount of all the projects. However, in that 109 was the internet enhancement.
I think you took it out.
But did we take it out of the total? I agree, it's not in the verbiage.
Don't know.
Let me check.
Good point. So it was like 10 or 11,000, if I recall.
Mm-hmm. No, you did take it out, because the total was 129.14. So, okay, I'm good with that.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Good.
I'm going to insert the updated amount for the annual budget.
Yeah.
The Water Enterprise Fund has been updated. Same thing with the transfer station. And next year, we're going to work on,
Just a pet peeve of mine, I mean, can we get the numbers to line up the right way? Right, so it's at a decimal point, comment,
right here.
So,
but numbers line up on the right.
going on
justify it to the
little
right.
pet peeves. There'd be a lot of fix. We'd be here all night.
I mean, you've made huge improvements.
We'll let Scott.
We don't want more decimal
Scott
points.
Scott can tinker with that.
Never mind, we'll fix it for next year.
Reverse
The
that.
whole
There you go.
thing.
I mean, at least
think
we
he
have
means a
commas this
space
year.
for the 50 capital outlay, put a space before the 5 so that
Town's gonna be okay.
it aligns, maybe? Is that part of it?
Like in front of between,
No, between the dollar and the
Between the
5.
dollar
Yeah.
sign, so it doesn't all look like it's
Okay.
like it's part of the number.
So then it aligns over, there you go.
Yeah.
one more.
Yeah, one.
Just take a vote on this.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Oh, so yeah. Okay, I see what
One
you.
more.
One more.
Hit a space, one more space. There you go.
There you go.
Perfect.
All right,
Thank you.
goodness, all righty.
Those of us with the ADHD, that's just,
We'll let him work on this one later. We'll let you do that one at home, okay? We won't
you have the
make all these
idea.
little spaces tonight.
Regarding the budget numbers, just
Yeah.
a question or a comment. I looked quickly and I'm looking at on the right side of the Mass General laws, but on extraordinary reserve funds for extraordinary expenditures, and it has to be established at annual or special town meeting. The question is, can it be established as part of the budget, or does it have to be a separate warrant?
How have we always added funds to this?
I don't think we
You may
have,
want to just double check that.
I don't think we have one, though.
Well, that was the residual.
Oh, we can fund the reserve fund.
Right, we can do the finance committee can have a reserve fund up to X amount, which is probably 5% of the total budget. Yeah.
Yeah, because section 6, this is, let me just read it. The town may at annual or special town meeting appropriate or transfer a sum not exceeding the aggregate 5% of the levy of the fiscal year or the preceding fiscal year for which the fund, yada, yada, yada. No direct drafts. Okay, so as long as we can appropriate that amount and transfer it in at the meeting as part of the overall budget, that's fine, as long as it doesn't have to be its own separate warrant.
Okay. All right. Transfer station, that's where we are, okay?
Next year, we'll put the monitoring fees into,
That'll be a separate account for next year to do
we
that.
just need some time to arrange that.
But it's in this year's budget as a separate line item expense.
I think it's the environmental compliance. We didn't take it out yet.
Well, we did take 32,000 out for the capping and monitoring of the landfill.
Where'd we put it?
It's in the expenses. Otherwise, there's a new line item somebody stuck into the highway department. It's at the bottom of,
At the bottom of highway?
no, it's somewhere right in, up above that, right there, transfer, I'm assuming that's what that transfer to the enterprise fund is, line 208. Because, I mean, who else are we giving $31,000 to? Not the wire department. And we only have 2 enterprise accounts.
I think it's because the enterprise fund will be running in the red, so they'll be running a deficit.
Correct. So we agreed to take the monitoring fees, which I thought was about 32,000, and put that into the general fund. The other 11.5, I think, is part of the regular stormwater and just the current operations of the landfill. But it doesn't look like you're double counting it.
So 31,920 to be transferred from the general fund.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
So they're short about 30, a little over 30,000, but that 30,000 does include the monitoring fees, which I think was around 14,000 this year, Randall said.
So that line just doesn't look like it's a separate line within those breakdowns right now. The 31 is folded in the 165 or somewhere.
Right, so we'll have the 209 from transfer expenses, the 31 from the general fund, and the 19,975 from the indirect costs.
And that gets you to the 237,845? Cool.
So our article is correct, though?
Well, no, 209 plus 31 is 240, plus 19 is $259,000.
Yeah.
Indirect cost is going to the general fund. The 31,920 is coming from the general fund to the transfer station. So I just copied what we usually put for this article.
So
Usually we state this is how much revenue they're getting, this is how much they're using for retained earnings, and this is how much their indirect costs are.
right.
This year, they're not using retained earnings at all because they don't have any really. So I got the impression that we're using the 31,920 from the general fund to help fund the transfer station for the year. So that's why I included it in that description.
Right, so 209 is coming from their enterprise receipts, right? And then 31 is coming over from the general fund. So that's 209 plus 31 gets you to 240, minus the 19 they owe us back, gives you a total of 221,155. So maybe just validate it offline, but
Yeah.
it looks like.
Yeah, let's just highlight that, Scott, and then know that you've got to come back to it, I think.
Because this is also the first time we're giving them money.
Yeah, just to be sure that we've got it worded correctly. I mean, we've got a budget line for it in the expense budget. But just where, I'm wondering if that needs to be more obvious, that 31,920 needs its own special line in that.
And hold on.
See the
Is the
environment.
19,975, Bradley, what other departments are paying the transfer station? And is that why it says 19,975 to be appropriated from the general fund to go to them?
I was just copying what the article said the previous years. We always had indirect costs stated there.
Right.
And I know it's always been in the little chart above it, and then it explains it at the bottom.
Yeah, right, so that's that's like the fire department paying the police department.
Well, we pay for the trash pickup here at Town Hall.
That's what that is. That's what that 19,975, so yeah, that's part of that.
Right.
But then, so those two numbers match. The question is the 41,165 and 11. The balance of that should be between the 209, so I think the 209 is overstated. Right, so 41,165 is 206, then you add the 11, it's 217, round numbers, 217, and you've got the credit of 31 coming in from us, so from their general receipts, or enterprise receipts, they need the difference of those three lines minus the 31,920, which would change the 209, 210 number. Right?
Anybody else agree? All right.
I'm happy to be the Lone Ranger over here.
I think we can leave this for the staff to make sure that the numbers and the text reconcile in a way that's
what we need to do.
easily understood. It's more important that it be easily understood than it conform to past practice.
Right, yeah. Well, especially since we're doing something a little bit different this year, too, so,
Indeed.
that we haven't done that. Yeah. Okay, so we'll let you do that offline, Scott, and we'll just keep on going here, okay?
Thank you.
For 89 Clark Street, I don't know.
Sounds like he's teeing you up for a response, Chris.
Yeah, I think we've concluded negotiations.
Okay, so that's going to stay on the warrant.
So we'll.
Then we have
There's a typo, though. Estate of David Parsons, S at Parson, right there. Parsons, yep, there you go. Yeah, so I think that one think we're done. We've got to do a couple tiny things, but I think we're there.
For Article 11, we're having a executive session later tonight. That one, so we should be able to fill that in, or maybe, I don't know. Financial transfers were double checked.
Scott, other money, it says
Yeah,
unexpected costs, okay.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
So for the general bylaws, we did delete the tag sale.
And that's because the bylaw committee met and decided also that we have not heard anything back from the lawyers on that one. So if we haven't gotten feedback from the lawyers, it shouldn't go on the warrant anyway. So right now, it's pulled. What we'll end up doing is wait for the lawyers, and then depending on that, Francine was planning on organizing a public information session, which we've done for some of the others, and see if anybody attends, have it available online for people to write in with questions and comments as well. And then depending on those results, decide whether we bring it back at a special town meeting or not. I mean, it's basically, it should be up to the voters to figure out whether they want a bylaw or they don't want a bylaw. That's the whole purpose of having these, these things, right? So, we may have our own feelings about them, but it should be something that gets before the voters to say yay or nay.
Not right if our paid attorney did not reply.
Well, and they haven't gotten to us, whatever. I mean, we've gotten all the three others, so I think we're comfortable going ahead with the three, but...
Another mark in the deficit column for me.
Well, I don't know. I'm not worried about it that much, but... But I don't want to, because it has to still go through, whenever the bylaws are approved at town meeting, it still goes to the Attorney General. So, we want to be sure that our lawyers put in any language that we need to have so that it can pass the Attorney General too, so.
Yes.
For the zoning articles, just added the additional language.
Which I hope somebody's going to understand what all that's all about, but yeah. It's going to be in the explanation narrative thing here?
Yes.
It sounds like it's a table of contents issue, is it?
There's a lot of alphabet soup.
Alphabet soup.
With all these, so.
Well, the existing bylaw was confusing about who granted a special permit.
Okay.
And this is our best attempt to clarify that.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
With community preservation, so that was updated with the CPA.
So their budget is now the first article, as Robert had suggested, right? Okay.
And then we still have the revolving funds.
Okay.
Contingency, so.
We're getting pretty close. So hopefully, within the next day or two, we can actually sign off on this. And I think, how do we want to do this? I don't necessarily want to have another meeting. Could we have a Zoom call or something? What would be appropriate to sign off on the warrant?
Could you approve it with just filling in those?
Pending those changes? I mean...
The clerical items.
Well, we've got a big one to fill in. We won't have an answer tonight. We'll have maybe something on that land acquisition one, hopefully tomorrow-ish, or by Thursday. So that's an unknown at this point. What's anybody think? I mean, we've all got to sign the warrant. Huh?
That's the only unknown?
That's the only real unknown. Yep.
Well, today's the 23rd.
Yep.
When does the warrant need to be signed?
Well, we were aiming to sign it no later than the 25th and get it posted on the 29th. It's got to be posted, I think, on the 29th.
So Thursday.
Wait.
Which is Monday.
When are you saying we'll have this needed information? What day approximately? Tomorrow?
Well, hopefully, yeah.
I see.
We'll talk about that, yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm lost. Article 11, right?
Right.
What is highlighted?
This is the dollar amount that we're going to ask.
The dollar amount. There's no dollar amount in there.
We won't know until
Use.
It's for the debt exclusion.
That's highlighted, not the price.
No, we have to go for debt exclusion.
I understand.
What?
Would the discussion make more sense if we were to return from public meeting after our executive session? Oh,
It's,
Not totally.
the words got scrambled. It's, the
Okay.
meaning got flipped. That's a text edit that can be done. I understand that what you mean is missing is the acquisition price.
Right.
And that's subject to special or executive session. Madam Chair.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, Robert.
Moderator.
Sorry.
some sage advice for us.
Robert Floyd, College Highway, speaking as town moderator. Are you holding up an article because of the dollar amount or because of wording?
We haven't finished negotiating yet.
Okay.
So dollar amount.
The dollar amount doesn't really need to be put in the article.
Oh.
It needs to be put in the motion. So you can sign the warrant and then make that motion whatever the dollar amount is.
Even if this is a debt exclusion?
I don't know.
That I'd have to research. I'm just using the language from KP Law.
Okay.
They provided that in the ballot question.
Okay,
So let me
okay.
just pull that.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not sure about a debt exclusion
Yeah.
right now.
not positive on
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I would just say, if we're going to do a meeting on Thursday, I have that interim superintendent appointment. So, I mean, depending on what time you're thinking, I may not be available. And, yeah, well, I am PPP. I mean,
yeah.
you get 3 Zooms going.
Yeah, it's a good one. Definitely want to post it on Monday at the latest here, so, hang on.
Yeah, this has to go back to the attorney and no extra charge. They've scrambled the meaning. The purpose, if we want to put something in that highlighted block, general municipal purposes, including without limitation for a public safety building and other uses. There's no sense in that sentence of inserting a dollar amount. It's not anticipating
It may
that.
just be, yeah, something might have gotten slipped in a sentence or something. Out of order, is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Again, it goes to the question whether we're trying to identify a use, which I think is really important, in both the warrant article and the motion, or whether we also need to identify a dollar amount, in which case we have to find the right place to insert it, not there. It's just that simple.
Yep.
And I think it's important to say, including but not limited to public safety. I think that is very important. And the attorneys may have deferred to us to get the name of the building in the right format, what we've been,
Yeah.
it's not the fire station,
Yeah.
it's a public safety building.
Or they may decide that it, maybe it doesn't, for some reason it might, as Robert was just saying, on something else, maybe it doesn't, it's in the article, but it doesn't, sorry, it's not in the article, but you put it in the motion as you
Yeah.
read the motion.
I think that's
So that may be the,
quite an important question to look at in
Yeah.
terms of the dollar amount,
So-
but not in terms of editing the paragraph that was just up there. That would make no sense.
well, we'll go back and take a look at that. So back on trying to approve this. So, John, your meeting is when? On Thursday? What's anybody else's timing on Thursday?
But that line, I agree with you, that line doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't
it's not
make
a dollar.
sense.
It's about uses, it's not about compensation.
Right, so what do we need to fill in?
Yeah.
Public safety building.
Yeah,
Or public safety?
yeah.
Is that the question? Yeah?
That's a piece of the question, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. We can go back and check and see if that had a different wording when that came into us
They
originally.
were going to leave it blank for the amount, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
the
doesn't
blank
make
is just
sense
in the
for the
wrong
amount.
place. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's at 6:30.
You're at 6:30?
Original.
But there needs to be something there, or else it's screwed up.
Yes, no, not disagreeing.
How
I mean,
much money?
The line for the
You guys
whatever
will take the words.
is just also in the wrong place, though. Yes. So we need to say, for the public safety complex and other uses. What's anybody else's schedule on Thursday? Could we try I don't know, should we try a Zoom meeting?
Do we have to physically sign the paper?
While we ponder that thought, Finance would like to adjourn
Oh, I'm
their
sorry.
portion.
Gee, okay.
No, just like hanging out.
You guys are just getting on a roll here, I don't know.
Can I go?
Motion to adjourn the finance
Okay.
committee meeting.
All in favor?
All right.
We are meeting on Monday, the 20th, at 6:30 to vote on the warrant articles.
Okay,
So we will then let Scott know,
okay,
but we wanted to include Reggie and.
sure, okay, great.
He was away.
Yeah.
So,
So you're meeting Monday, the 29th?
yes.
Okay.
So we'll let Scott will email you.
Yep,
And so that you can put our, finance
Sure.
committee recommended.
Okay.
We're going to vote. Okay.
perfect, that's great, thank you for that. And thanks for coming tonight, this was really helpful, so,
So
appreciate it.
I think in Article 11, if the highlight is if it's sufficient to say public safety complex and other uses, and then it goes on, it doesn't call for the number amount, provided that we get clarification that the number can just be in the summary,
Yeah,
then I don't see why we can't vote on this tonight.
yeah. I'm not sure if it does, or if, because we have to do a debt exclusion for that, if that has
Well,
to
that's
be
what I'm saying, we
separate
could take a vote pending confirmation
Yeah,
separately, right? And then if the lawyers say, yeah, you're good,
yeah.
the vote stands.
Otherwise, we're back on Thursday.
You know, then we still have to be able to come in, everybody, to sign the warrant on Thursday. We all need to sign this. So
We can't sign it tonight,
it's
It's not ready.
even though we're voting on it. Okay.
That's bridge too far, man.
All right, fine, I tried.
No. So I'm fine if we want to take a vote that this is basically our warrant with the couple of changes that we know we've got to verify.
Subject to verification that the dollar amount does not have to be in the article itself for number 11,
Or
that it could be, that it's sufficient.
if it does, to include it. I mean, sure.
Well, yeah, but then we need to, at that point, we would not have publicly disclosed that number. Because I have a feeling that's what we're going to talk about in executive session. So unless we come out of executive session and take a public vote, it's not public information, right?
Why can't we just sign the signature
Yeah.
page?
Good point.
I don't know, I asked. I don't know.
Yeah.
Can't we just sign the signature page? I'm just asking, that's what attorneys do. They have them just sign the signature page and then make the changes after.
I will run around to each of your houses if that would make you happy to sign it. I don't care.
I can stop on my way
I'm
to
trying to make it easier for everyone.
It's clerical. Sign things.
Second. Moved and second to approve the warrant with the editorial issues noted after consultation with the Oracle.
For discussion, I think the line that's highlighted should say public safety.
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
public safety.
Yeah,
With that, yes.
That's my vote, but I don't have a JD after my name.
yeah.
All right.
No, I think public safety complex or whatever should be.
I heard Joy in favor of it.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, so I think, okay, so I think we had some, Stephen made a motion and somebody second that? Dan seconded?
Second.
I seconded.
Or somebody seconded. Who made the motion so that we get our notes
Actually said
right?
second, but that's okay.
I motioned, Stephen seconded.
Okay, John motioned, Stephen seconded. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right,
So, should be ready to post
Or
by
eyes on
Thursday
Google.
morning.
all right, and then, yeah. I'm not in favor of signing a blank page tonight, myself.
Well, no, I said we get the final
Come
form.
in Thursday.
I think we have to have our discussion tonight in
Yeah,
executive
hey.
session and figure out what we all think about it.
I'm not going far.
So,
There you go.
we will figure it out. But if we can do a Zoom meeting, that would be one way to do it, and then just stop by and put in signatures, as long as it's before Monday. So either stop by on Friday, Scott's here on Friday, if that works for people, or,
I'm afraid of Robert, so I'll do anything so that he's.
all right. Are we done with the warrant for now?
Yes.
All right, let's move on. Okay.
Want me to read the warrants? My dramatic reading?
No.
Long numbers?
Robert does that.
No.
He's on payroll and vendor
No, we're
warrants
not
already.
there. Good Lord, we're not even there. Come on, we got a whole agenda here, guys. All right, so the ARPA financials, Bradley, thank you for sending those around. I think in the ARPA financial quarterly reports, so we've still got some people that are not turning in their quarterly reports.
Cut off their funding.
Some people are not taking into account that they have turned in invoices and have actually spent money from ARPA, because it says budgeted and how much is left, and it's still the same amount. So I'm going to sit down with Judy tomorrow, and we'll kind of go through these reports and see who's got some errors that we need to correct and send it back to them, or send them an email to correct it. Because the whole point of this tracker was for Judy to track that quarterly reports were being turned in as we had established, and that people are also putting down real figures in terms of what they've been able to spend from what we gave them, and those figures should match Bradley's report. Some of them do and some of them don't. So I'd rather not belabor a discussion tonight until we get that cleaner, because something is not sinking. So people are just, they're not spending a lot of time writing a quarterly report. I'll just say that much. And so therefore, when you get a one-sentence quarterly report, and they're not really telling us much about what's happened, I think that's not the point of the quarterly report. And when we get audited, we will be told that, I'm sure. So people should really reflect on the progress or the lack thereof in their project that they have been funded for.
I'm asking a question as someone who's never looked at this form, but would it help to maybe spell out some of the questions or things that we're looking for more?
The form is, I mean,
all right.
no, I mean,
Just asking.
the form is there. It's pretty, it's not, it's like 5 things to fill out. It's
Okay.
not much, it's just people just taking the time to do it, and, So, ARPA quarterly reports, okay, is there any other business that can't wait until the next May 7th meeting? And we will have, a meeting as usual before the town meeting up at the school. Any other businesses coming up here right now?
So, no, but just in your absence, the IT committee would like us at one of our next available meetings to take up, to hear their report out on fiber.
Okay.
And they believe next steps are ours.
Okay.
And I thought there was something else, but I guess not.
We can get that scheduled after town meeting.
The town administrator wants to have an executive session with the select board. He indicated our next meeting, but I would suggest May 7th is not the night to have that executive session.
Not the night of town meeting, Scott. If we need a separate executive meeting, we can do that in between.
Just not on the
meetings or
7th.
Something,
Yep.
not that night, for sure.
Do we need to meet on the 14th?
We can either do it on the regular meeting, we can add an exec, or we've been trying to do, depending on the agendas, we've, been trying to split it up so we don't have long meetings and have an exec, just a short one in an interim week, but it depends on what the topic is, I guess. The other thing, while we're talking about things to be looked at, we do need to get back to the housing trust and establish the membership of the housing trust. We need to be recruiting people to be on that housing trust. There's only one select board person, but we need 4 people from the public. So that we really need to get back and get on top of our agenda to find people for.
Yes, indeed.
All right, what else? Stormwater utility.
Calendar item, Saturday, I'm going to attend, Scott may remember the title, it was just fishing, here it
Yes,
is. The Western Massachusetts Municipal Conference.
Yep, I'm going with you. I'll be there too.
Oh, very good.
I'll see you there, whatever.
All right.
Yep. Yeah, with Ann Goby. Yep. Yeah, no, that should be
Rural
good.
and Western Mass.
Yeah, Rural and Western Mass Development Seminar, whatever it is. Okay, stormwater utility study, I think that's where, had we gotten a new quote on that for the?
Did we hear back from our counteroffer to tie and bond?
Yeah, it was our tie and bond were going to give us a new quote on the stormwater utility study, because they had come in too high at one point in time compared to what we'd budgeted, so they were going to come back and take a look at it again.
Yeah, let me email that around to everybody.
Okay, all right. Yep, and then voice over IP, I know you've got some of the narrative to do. We just have to get the recording done and put in the auto attendant.
The good news.
The auto attendant.
Do the
dulcet
Excel
tones.
stuff, the Excel sheet for
Yeah,
it.
and the sheets that go with it, yeah, the auto attendant, okay, right. I don't think it's farther over, okay. Delinquent cannabis payment, we're starting to talk about that, and I think what we will recommend, I think we had talked about it briefly, is that rather than going the legal route, we will have a meeting, at least Scott and I, with the owner of Dreamer, and just talk about the benefit payments and what's in the current contract, and, what the future looks like, et cetera.
Right.
So
Just
that's
honor
on the agenda.
honor what you already agreed to do, and
Yep.
we'll
Yep.
look favorably onto the future.
Yeah, exactly. So there's just there's a lot of legal challenges to all these things by the Cannabis Commission, apparently. So all those host country agreements that everybody, or host yeah, host agreements, whatever, host town agreements everybody did. Many of them are being challenged, apparently, so. All right, so licenses and permits, who has the details to read those out?
I must have a different agenda, because I didn't have cannabis, but I had underground tank at the highway garage.
That's on pending still, probably, or no? No? Well, I'm on the 23rd agenda. Is yours the 23rd? We did that last week? I'm not seeing it on, it's on there as a placeholder. We haven't, I don't think we've done anything about it
3
yet.
licenses and permits,
We've got 3 licenses and permits.
all at Conant Park.
Yeah, so we,
I make a motion to approve the 3 as a package without objection. 1-day wine and malt for David DeRoche's.
DeRocher,
Conant Park, May 5th, 2024, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. 1-day wine and malt for David Capitri for Easthampton Savings Bank. Conant Park, May 18th, 2024, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. for picnic. And a 1-day wine and malt for Karen Cabana. Conant Park, May 19th, 2024, noon to 5 p.m. graduation party.
Second.
all right, any discussion on this? I assume we verified that they've turned in all their paperwork, all their money, all their, whatever they need to do?
Yes.
Their tip
It looked like all the forms were in our packet.
stuff? Okay,
Yes.
very good, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right. Stephen, yes, you are.
Oh, no.
Your claim to fame for your warrant reading, yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Thanks, Doug.
Okay, the following warrants have been processed since we last reported to the public. Treasury warrant W24-24A and V, offsetting each other in the amount of $355, no cents. Payroll deduction warrant, PD 24-39, the amount of $50,799.66. Payroll treasury warrant, PD 24-39, the amount is $319,196.12. Payroll deduction warrant, PD 24-39, the amount is $50,799.
I think that might be a duplicate.
Which one?
It could be a repeat.
Sorry, which one is that?
We'll go on to the deduction
24-39
warrant.
is said twice.
PD 24-39A, which is the new item.
No, payroll and then payroll deduction.
I think we just strike the second occurrence of PD 24-39. PD 24-39A is in the amount of $173,039.79. Treasury warrant W24-40 in the amount of $662,697.26. Another payroll treasury warrant, P24-41, the amount is $340,278.23. Payroll deduction warrant, PDDD 24-41, the amount is $56,353.94. And finally, a treasury warrant, W24-42A, the amount is $4,000 even.
Second?
Okay. All right. All those in favor? No, don't usually vote on those.
Informational item.
Just throw a second out whenever, just keep things moving along, you know?
Yes.
Usually, all right. We do have 2 sets of minutes to approve. One is, let's take these separately, March 26th, and this is the
Move
one.
approval of the minutes of March 26th,
Okay.
2024.
Second.
Stephen, and second by John, and just a note, again, for the public record, just to note again that this is the one where we had been asked to read out loud the whole issue from Mass Department of Agricultural Resources on the acquisition of the APR for Hamel.
Yep.
So I'm just reiterating that this has been done in public session. It's been approved. It is in our minutes as they required. And this allows them to move forward with the APR acquisition for that property.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so all those in favor of this one, please take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. And
Move
then,
approval of the minutes of April 3rd, 2024.
Second.
Okay, motion by Stephen, second by Joy. Any comments, questions, typos? Please do take a chance to read through them. This is one where we had Tom Cleary here, and I think we spent a lot of time on the school budget here for Hampshire Regional. So I think we're getting pretty up to date here. So, okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So I think we may be missing February is what I'm thinking, and then we'll have Judy track that down. I think we seem to have skipped one somewhere. I haven't seen it anyway. Okay, pending items. I don't know that there's anything on the East Street section, anything more on the Greenway tip? Not really at this point in time. The Ty and Bond folks are working on their design still. The DOER Green Communities Grant. Scott and I have been going round on this one. If you recall, we approved 4 projects here at Select Board to go to be applied finally to that $138,000 grant. Well, unbeknownst to us, all the paperwork had not been fully submitted, and so there's got to be a couple of Excel tables that have got to be done, and we've asked that the energy folks from Eversource actually do an updated energy efficiency amount so we can totally understand that. But the green community people are more than excited, waiting for us to get that little math done. So I'm hoping within the next 10 days or so, maybe after town meeting, whenever, we can get that done, depending on how quickly Eversource reacts to us. But
Yeah, 3 out of the 4 should already be done this week. They're just waiting for the last oil bill that we're trying to track down,
okay,
the
for the school
updated
one?
12-month. Yeah.
Okay, good. So
And
that
I
was
should have
getting
tomorrow.
close. So they're more than happy to allocate that money out to us, and then we can really get it finalized. So that was one that we thought was further along in the process, but it hadn't been totally completed. Some of the paperwork was in, but not all of it that needed to be in. So that's working. Assistant accountant recruitment, again, we know that we need to keep on doing that. And maybe we find something else besides Indeed, and I know you're putting it out on the MMA website and various others, I think you said, Scott, right? So, okay. All right, so for right now, we have our select board meeting on May 7th, prior to the annual town meeting, and then we will have our other meeting on the 21st, I believe, of May. Does that give me the right math?
Yep.
Somebody look at a calendar.
Yep.
Yes.
But the 21st, isn't that town
Well, that's the question.
election?
So, yeah, so the 21st is a town election, and I think we cannot do, that's the question. I don't think we can have a meeting on the same day
During
as the
the
town
election.
election. So unless we were to do something different with the town election, which I don't think we decided to do at this point in time.
I'm
No,
still
I think
researching that part.
Still researching whether, yeah. It looks like if we were to try to push the town election, it looks like we need special
That ship has sailed.
requirement.
Just cancel the select board meeting.
Right, we'll meet on the 20th instead.
Well, we can do it the 22nd, we can do it on Wednesday rather than a Tuesday. Or,
Well-
I mean, if we do it to the next week, we get ourselves off schedule, that's the only thing. So that would be an option, would be to have it on May 22nd rather than May 21st. That would be one way to do that. But we can still discuss that if you want to, we can come back and figure that out. But I think we shouldn't go a whole 3 weeks without a meeting, I don't think. There's too much stuff that happens.
Yeah.
Duly noted.
So, okay. So tentatively, Wednesday, the 22nd, unless
I won't be able to do that.
you won't be here?
No.
Can't do it?
Well,
Or Thursday?
no, I'll be in continuing ed classes
May 20, no.
every Monday and Wednesday in the month of May.
Okay. Thursday work any better? Anybody? Anybody? Yeah, Thursday?
I don't see any conflicts.
How about a good old Saturday at noon? That way we know it'll be quick.
Congratulations.
Well, let's tentatively say that one,
I can do Thursday.
okay, let's try Thursday, the 23rd. Okay, May 23rd, okay. All right, I think that's that. So with that, I think we are done with our regular business. We'll be going into executive session in a moment here, and the reason we're going into executive session is per MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A6, to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property if the chair declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body, and this is regarding the public safety building site. So with that, can I
So
have a motion
moved.
to go into executive session? All right. All right.
And just for the record, we are not returning.
I don't think we will return tonight, no.
I'm good with
I don't
that.
think we will have any information to come back to at this point. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, roll call, please.
Lumbra, aye.
Johnson, aye.
Piper, aye.
LaValle, aye.
All's aye. Okay, we are adjourned at about 7:43, and we will,
Easthampton Media, if you could just text me, just to make sure
yep.
that we're off the air, because the TV is not working.
Say what?
Break.